Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Swipe Up, episode 214. This is the show where I share my opinions on current events, whether you like it or not. Let's get into it, shall we? Starting off with this first story, not very controversial, I would say. It would be very funny to see people get upset with my opinions on this story, but Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield team up to launch ear-shaped edibles, and of course, the ear has a little bite taken out of it because, as everyone I'm sure should know, especially if you're a boxing fan or not, just somebody plugged into pop culture that's, probably my age, I guess. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but it refers to the time where they fought, one of a rematch they had. I think it was a rematch, and both of them kind of later in their careers. And Mike Tyson was losing and decided to bite a chunk out of Evander Holyfield's ear. And, as time heals all wounds, I guess so does the bond between these two professional boxers as they get together to offer what is a fun kind of unique edible, I would say. They look delicious. They look like sour gummies, ears, with a chunk bit out of them. And, it's nice to see these two guys bury the hatchet, as it were. I'm sure Mike Tyson is kind of, when he was doing the one-man show, and it really seemed like he reevaluated his life and himself as a person and kind of made amends in a lot of ways for a lot of the things that he did in his past that were just kind of horrific and monstrous. So I would imagine during that time is when he kind of made amends for what was a pretty unsportsmanlike thing to do in a boxing match, biting Evander Holyfield's ear off. But, it's just proof that, you can get past a guy biting a chunk out of your ear, especially if you're going to make money. I mean, I would imagine Mike Tyson's weed brand that he's been, probably the last decade, I would imagine he's been developing is probably going to be a good moneymaker for him. Let's see if the boxing legends are using the infamous moment where Tyson bit a chunk of Holyfield's ear off during their heavyweight title match in 1997. Man, I can't believe it's been that long. To create the quote-unquote holy ears, the THC and Delta-8 THC infused edibles that are shaped like bitten ears, which will launch in November through Tyson 2.0, the boxer's cannabis company. I would love to try it. I haven't had weed or edibles it's getting close to a year. This has been my most sober year, 2022. I've, gotten drunk. Maybe I can count on my one hand how many times I've drank alcohol this year, and I stopped smoking weed. Whenever the weed I had left over at the end of last year ran out, is when I stopped. And I haven't purchased weed this year, and haven't purchased alcohol. The alcohol I've purchased has been from a friend just getting it for me. So, I would love to. I did love edibles, man. One of my favorite things to do on edibles, one, take high-dose edibles, right? If I'm not freaking out or feeling like horrible things are going to happen, I haven't had enough edibles, right? I don't do moderate doses of edibles. That's not why I'll smoke weed if I want just a little bit of a high. I want edibles. One, I love stretching on edibles. I love using my massage roller, right? Anytime I have muscle pain, like, edibles are the greatest. Stretching feels the best. I also love watching stressful suspense thriller movies. Like the movie Captain Phillips, specifically. I remember watching that or Free Solo, the documentary about the guy who climbs up the mountain without any ropes, right? The edible will put you in, right? I was in that ship when the Somali pirates took it over. I was on the mountain with Alex Hon. I think it's Alex Honnold, as he was climbing that mountain without any ropes, right? It puts you into the movie unlike 3D or surround sound could ever do, right? The most immersive experience is on a high dose edible. And yeah, I'd love to have some of those and watch a movie. You know, I don't know what movie. I don't know what I'd probably. It would probably, because I have like my tolerance is gone. It would probably wouldn't take much to make me blast off. But you know, it's cool. It's a nice little heartwarming story in some ways.
Let's take a little break from the show to promote.
I figured out a way on my website to offer prints for every single painting. So if you go to a painting, you can buy the original painting or you can buy a print for everything. Artwork that you don't want to spend $100 plus on 9 by 12 inch ink painting on paper, $100 for the original one-of-a-kind piece of artwork. Paintings range in price depending on their size. The 8 by 10 print, $20. Available in the store at inspireddisorder.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
Let's move on to another story that hopefully won't be that controversial. This one is a guy who made a 3,000-pound tomb to bury in the ground, and inside of the tomb was encased a bag of flaming hot Cheetos. On the outside of the tomb in gold leaf lettering are the ingredients of flaming hot Cheetos. I, like many humans who have eaten flaming hot Cheetos, who are addicted to flaming hot Cheetos, who regret eating the bag of flaming hot Cheetos the next morning, I love this idea. So this guy making a 3,000-pound reinforced concrete sarcophagus for a bag of flaming hot Cheetos, then burying it for future civilizations to find. Now, I saw the making of video of this sarcophagus, of how he, you know, made the frame, made the bottom part of the sarcophagus, and then the bag of flaming hot Cheetos are in like a plexiglass box that is filled with resin and then strung with wire to the edges of the sarcophagus, which you see in the second photo there, or the third photo. So the flaming hot Cheetos is then suspended in the center of the sarcophagus to withstand earthquakes or whatever it is, I would imagine. And encased in, so it's airtight, right? Nothing can get in. No bacteria can rot away to open up the bag and get to the Cheetos. I can't imagine what it would be like future civilizations to find that. I can't imagine, right? Is that what the Egyptians do? Right? I don't think so. It's kind of a crazy idea, but also kind of great. I don't know why it's so big, right? So long. It's like it's made for a body, probably in order to make people who find it think that it's a body and encourage them to open it up, even though the outside has the gold lettering of the ingredients, which modern day people won't be able to decipher those words of those ingredients, the chemicals that are involved in making flaming hot Cheetos. But yeah, a kind of a crazy idea. As far as all of the kind of snacks that you could do, I mean, culturally, flaming hot Cheetos, I mean, they inspired all other brands to release their version of flaming hot Cheetos. Even other brands of chips have that flaming hot, and none of them, they're good, but none of them really compare to that unique addiction that you get while eating flaming hot Cheetos. Like, You can't, like, I want to buy a bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos so bad. So bad right now. You have no idea the amount of desire I have at this very moment to just leave this podcast and go buy a bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos and eat every single one of them. Right? Just my fingers will be red. My intestines will be just angry at me tomorrow. Right? Thankfully, like Flaming Hot Cheetos and spicy food is what inspired me to invest in bidets. Not really. I bought a bidet because I can't help. I love spicy food, and there's just the perfect mixture of the Flaming Hot and the Cheeto that is just undeniably addictive. I love it so much. I really wish I had them. And the other versions are okay, like the Flaming Hot Cheeto fries are okay. The Flaming Hot, I've had like the Flaming Hot Doritos, Flaming Hot Ruffles. There's, the Flaming Hot other stuff is okay. But nothing is at the level. I've had off-brand Flaming Hot Cheetos. They're okay. Right? Nothing is quite as good. Like some other brands, they just have too much of a chemical-y taste to them. Right? Like the, what are those round chips that are like, they're like Doritos, but they're rolled up like a joint. Takis. Are they Takis? In Fuego. Too chemically of a taste. Right? A little bit too much. Not the right enough balance of flavor and heat. But Flaming Hot Cheetos, man. Great idea. I almost wish I had a time machine just to see what it looks like when people open that up and see, what is this very colorful thing that is suspended? Right? It's full of chemicals. I'm sure people would be like, this is not, they didn't eat this, did they? People put this in their body, right? That's how you get a physique like mine, right? It just goes right in the gut. Right in the gut. Anyway. Great idea. Love it. All right, let's move on to what might be the only controversial. This will be the only story I can imagine people crying in my comments about. But this story, billionaire Jeff Bezos says he plans to give away most of his fortune to charities. Doesn't really specify that. His quote on here is, "The hard part is figuring out how to do it in a levered way." Billionaires giving money away to charities is really just kind of, they could change humanity with the money they have. Bill Gates is supposed to be like this big philanthropist guy. I don't really see life changing much since he started donating money. I don't see money that Jeff Bezos donates to be changing life much at all. Usually charities end up being more like tax shelters for them where they, are able to funnel their money into an organization where they control the spending and help out their friends in ways. I don't know. Like you could end hunger in the world. He could end homelessness. Like there are huge issues that he could, with a fraction of his wealth, change humanity for the better. Right? There was even that time where Elon Musk said that he would, if somebody put forth the numbers of him being able to spend his money to end hunger, I think it was hunger or homelessness, he would do it. And of course they did. They presented him with, here, this is what you need to spend, this is how it would work, and it would end it. And he never did. Obviously, he'd rather spend $44 billion on a social media platform in order to bring back a guy who tried to overthrow the government, a musician who is supporting white supremacist views and anti-Semitism, like to bring back all of the people who spread the most hate speech, who inspire hate in people. He spent $44 billion to destroy a social media platform, completely get rid of all of the employees, and bring back people that are the hate speech figureheads, the figureheads of white supremacy. So, this is nice PR for Jeff Bezos. Sure. Right? What he could start by doing with the money that he has is paying the people that work for his company, Amazon, a living wage, allow them to unionize instead of, as all corporations are, fighting against unionizing. Like, there are things within the companies he currently owns and operates in order to change the lives of those people who work for him that helped get him the billions of dollars that he owns, the people who are responsible for making his money. He could effortlessly change their lives for the better by just paying them more. But instead, he wants to donate that money to a charity in which he can leverage those donations in a way that's positive for him, right? He doesn't actually want to do good for humanity. He just wants the illusion of doing good as a means to improve his social standing and the optics of him as a billionaire, as an oligarch. But, it's laughable. It's laughable that any billion, okay, you don't have to release a press release to notify people through the press that you're going to donate money, right? If a billionaire really wanted to do good, they could just do good. They wouldn't necessarily have to publicize it, right? Because all this is public relations trying to boost his brand overall, trying to make Amazon and his space tours, just trying to make the companies that he owns look better in the public sphere. But in reality, he could do good things for people that already work for him, that actively give their lives working shitty jobs for shitty pay that he could change overnight. And that would boost his overall optics in the public sphere, right? That's something you could publicize. Like Jeff Bezos is giving all of his employees a 200% raise. Every single employee that works for Amazon can afford to buy a house, right? That's something that no company can say. But Jeff Bezos could make a reality if he wanted to, but he won't. Because he wants to shield his money from taxes, probably because he's afraid that if the Republicans don't rig the votes enough and lose their control, that billionaires and millionaires might actually get taxed in a fair way instead of putting all of the burden on the middle class and lower class people to pay all of the taxes, while millionaires and billionaires use every loophole to not do anything, to not contribute to a country that allowed them to gain that billions of dollars. So, trigger warning to all of the billionaire bootlickers out there. Kissing Jeff Bezos' ass isn't going to make you wealthy. Defending wealthy people isn't going to get you in their club. And crying in my comments about it, trying to act like you are the voice of reason and all-knowing knowledge, is not going to make you respectable in any community whatsoever, other than the hate speech community, which, congratulations.
Let's take a little break from the show to promote
the benefits of Inspired Disorder Plus. So you go inspireddisorder.com/plus. Sign up, $5 a month. You get to binge the full week of the Ray Taylor Show ad-free. You get to watch all of the live painting videos I do. You get a special members-only discount and deals for all of the artwork and merch that I sell. You also get the complete podcast back catalog of every podcast I've ever produced, hundreds of episodes, countless different podcasts. You also get access to my personal blog. A new blog comes out every week. In addition to that, you get my creative writing that I'm releasing. You also get access to asking me anything. 14 years of experience podcasting. I've been creating art my entire life. I've been using Photoshop since middle school, and you can contact me to ask me questions about that or anything else. So those are the benefits for signing up for Inspired Disorder Plus.
And now let's get back to the show.
Let's move on to the last and final story, which it's a bigger issue than just what the story is. The story is AI can now make fake selfies for your Tinder profile. I mean, the big idea is AI in general and how it's going to eliminate so many jobs. So many jobs. I mean, it's one thing for somebody to get doctored photos to use in their Tinder profiles, right? I mean, Photoshop's existed. People have been able to do that in general. There's been filters on photo apps for years. So having an AI render an even better quality version at an less amount of time isn't that surprising, right? I don't care. Right? It's like just changing the angle that the picture is taken can drastically alter the overall look and appearance of a person. Right? Anybody who's ever been on any kind of date from a dating site when you see the person that they aren't going to look like their pictures because of all of the things. So being surprised that there's AI versions of their pictures, whatever. My thing is, the reason why I chose this story to talk about is because AI and these tools to create images, there's same tools that can write blogs, there's same tools that are going to be able to create video content from just a word prompt, right? You go to a site like the Dolly 2, I think that's what it's called, right? You go in, you type in chair that looks like an avocado, and it renders a picture of a chair that looks like an avocado. I've used Dolly to create images for my blog posts just as like an image that kind of represents what I'm talking about. I've used it to generate images for some of the album art for old podcasts that I used to promote. I just migrated all those things over to Inspired Disorder Plus and converted all the audio files into video files, and I rendered some art to be displayed while the audio's playing to represent the podcast itself, because I didn't ever have or don't have anymore the original podcast artwork for those shows. And it's effortless. And what I've seen, there are tons of industries that are going to be affected by the fact that AI can do all of these things, right? Graphic design is going to be photography. You can render in AI photorealistic images that you want. You can render in AI images that look like they were painted with oil paints, pastels, watercolor. You can choose the style, surreal, expressionist, minimalist, right? You can choose to do these things with just a few word prompts. You can have a complete story generated from AI just by giving it a few ideas, a few keywords, right? There's AI that writes code, so coders are going to be replaced. There's going to be with video, audio, with the whole deep fake thing, actors, musicians, composers, writers, There's only going to be a few people that are going to have these jobs. Most of the people that are working these like regular day job versions in these industries are going to be replaced by AI because AI is cheap. You don't have to pay AI a yearly salary, an hourly wage. AI doesn't need health care. AI doesn't need 401k benefits, right? AI doesn't complain. AI is ready to go. It's always in your office. It never goes home. It's working whenever you need it to work. Right? We are going to be getting, in a very few years, massive industries being replaced with AI. Serious. Right? In the same ways that a lot of jobs that require people to drive are going to be replaced by self-driving cars. That's going to be an eventuality. In that same way, people who have graphic design jobs, people that have video editing, audio editing, photography, videography, all coding, programming, majority of those jobs are going to be replaced by AI. Right? If you're a business like me, right? I'm a small business. I do everything myself. I know Photoshop. I know how to edit audio. I know how to edit video. I know how to do design. But am I going to spend an hour designing an idea? Or am I going to go to a site that has AI generated content? Am I going to go to a site and just type in a few words and use that? Because it's easier. Takes zero time. Costs me zero money. Right? Time is money for me. So I could spend, if I could, like for doing promos in the future, if I could instead just input what I need an AI to say, get an AI generated person, right? Eventually I won't even have to record this podcast. I mean, that is the only thing that is going to separate me from companies that regurgitate and produce content, right? Like my artwork that I create, my ink paintings, maybe you can find an AI thing to generate my style of artwork. But you can watch me create every piece of artwork that I make in my specific style. Right? That's something that maybe you could. I'm sure eventually they'll be able to be like, not only does it generate the finished image, but it can generate what it would look like for an artist to paint that image. Sure. But for me, you come to me because you want to see me create the thing, right? I do all the work, right? I am the artist. I create the podcast. I edit the podcast. I create the artwork. I edit the videos for the artwork. I design the websites, right? You come to me for authentic. But even me, first little things, right? I got the podcast Shit Happens, one of my first podcasts, 18 episodes, available Inspired Disorder Plus. I don't have album artwork. I never made album artwork for it, right? It was a solo podcast I did kind of just casually. But I generated an image, put the image into Photoshop and put the title, put a little lens flare. So I diced, I cleaned it up. I did some stuff with it. There's another one I did of Beyond Disorder. It was an after show for my podcast, Inspired Disorder Podcast. Right? Keith Spurlock, the host of that show, had an idea of a giraffe riding a tricycle. Right? So if you look at the album artwork, it's a giraffe riding a bicycle with the moon in the background. Looks like a kid's book, really. There's another one I did, only one episode, solo podcast, Dancing Elephants. Literally typed in dancing elephants. Boom. Used it. Right? Looks like a little illustrated, these elephants dancing in a nightclub. Easy. I'm not going to spend an hour or two coming up with album artwork for podcasts that are going on to Inspired Disorder Plus. I'll just, I'll get the most bang for my buck just doing that. Shortcut. So, sure, are Tinder pictures going to look great and not be representative of reality? They already are. You know, it's more rare to find an authentic picture on a dating app already before AI kind of is becoming ubiquitous. But yeah, everything's going to be. I mean, most pictures people put on their social media of themselves is doctored in some way. So the thing that I'm more concerned with are the creative industries, right? Like there's musicians that come up with jingles. Now you'll be able to go to an AI generator, type in, and it'll just be able to come up with jingles for you, right? So why would a company need to go to an artist, somebody who composes jingles? Just use AI. Why would a company go to, graphic designer, marketing team? You just generate AI. Way less overhead. It's going to be insane. There's going to be massive amounts of people out of work. It's going to be, like, I know a lot of people in industries that aren't going to have jobs because they will be replaced with AI. Video game coders, engineers, artists, graphic artists. It's crazy times we're going to, and it's not gonna, like, things are gonna get really weird. Writers, copywriters, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's my thoughts on AI in general. That it's kind of a doomsday thing. It's not gonna get good. It's not gonna get good, and it's a weird thing, like, to hear artists talk about it, because there was already a stigma for artists using computers in general, right? For using a projector in order to do a mural. I had issues with that, right? I was like, you should do that by hand, right? But yeah, it's easy. It's a tool. Use a tool. People using Photoshop, generating an image, their reference image in Photoshop, and then copying that reference image, right? It makes it so much easier to do it. But now you don't even have to do that. Now you can just fully generate it from a few words. Where AI art is taking over somebody who has zero art ability, zero technical ability to paint, draw, design, just writes a prompt in an AI and sells prints of the artwork that the AI made. That's a reality. There's AI. People are profiting off of artwork made by AI right now, today. And there's artists who create artwork by hand using paint and pencil and watercolor and ink that are struggling. I mean, me included. But, hopefully there will be a movement in people who want to collect art from people who make art in a certain way, who are doing it in a traditional way, somewhat traditional way, right? Collecting artwork created by a human versus created by AI. That's the hope. But we'll see. I mean, who's going to be collecting art if everybody's unemployed? But anyway, let's do some shout outs and get out of here. Shout out to Pubbity. Shout out Sunday.nobody.art. Shout out KTLA 5 News. And shout out Motherboard Vice. But most importantly, shout out to you.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.